Hello everyone, my name is Christian. I hope you're liking the conference so far. Up next, we have one of the sponsor talks from the supporter category, a very important company in the Python ecosystem. From a simple package management to resolve dependencies, up to now providing AI-based solutions. So I hope you enjoy the following talk by Anaconda.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosio and I'm a software engineer on the open source Jupyter team at Anaconda. And today I'll be introducing Gator, a handy UI for managing Conda environments. It's an open source project that's been around for a few years and that we recently took up on this year earlier to update and also integrate with Anaconda Toolbox, which we'll go over shortly. So first, a little bit about myself. I joined Anaconda in 2022, and my first open source Jupyter contributions were also in that year, mainly in Classic Notebook and NB Classic to help support users who couldn't make the jump to the new major version of Notebook, Notebook 7, which is based on an entirely new code base. It's based off of JupyterLab components. And since then, I've been around the Jupyter ecosystem a bit and participating in various ways. And I'm here to chat with you all about Gator today, the work that we've been doing most recently. So before looking at Gator, why do environments matter? If you've ever managed Conda environments in CLI, you know that the CLI can be very powerful, but also a bit tedious. And typing long commands like the Conda create command I have going on this right side here, terminal, that when you're adding the environments, the environment name, remembering the flags for environment for the channels, and anything else that you might have to consider, the packages, the package versions, all that isn't always fun. And so Gator takes that same workflow and it makes it visual and more intuitive. So this is Gator here on the upper right side. Gator allows you to create, clone, remove, or inspect environments. You can view the packages that are installed in that environment, as well as packages that you can install into that environment. You can see the package channel. You can see the versions that are available. And of course, you can also modify the package versions there. You have the option to export or import environments as YAML files, and then you also have a set of you have a way to set predefined environment types. Gator out of the box comes with the Python 3 and R environment types, but like I have done here, you can define your own environment name and include specified packages that you'd like to have installed when you create that type of environment later on. Gator currently you can install it and use it through JupyterLab as it's a JupyterLab extension. You could also launch it as a standalone app via the Gator command. And then here we can take a look at Gator inside Anaconda Toolbox, which is a set of plugins that provide to you. In this case here, you can see the Anaconda Toolbox on the right, and you briefly saw a flash of the Anaconda Assistant. In the main area, you can see Gator, and I'm browsing through an environment that I installed from the Anaconda Toolbox environments list, and I am browsing through the packages there. I can still do the same things. I can clone environments, download environments via exporting them to a YAML file. And I think I do various other things here, but we can go on to the next portion here. And we can talk about how Gator works behind the scenes. So at the top level, we have a shared React component library called Common. And this is where all the UI pieces live, the environment list, the package lists, the drawers that are opened up to either allow you to create an environment or to install certain packages, as well as the dialogues. Um, Basically, everything that you see on the screen is likely to live in this common package, and that is used by both the JupyterLab extension, GatorLab, and the standalone app, which is Navigator. And they use the exact same UI code, and so you build features once, and that works in both places. When you launch JupyterLab, when you are also launching the standalone app via the Gator commands. Um, Below that UI layer, the the two modes, the extension and the standalone app, they run on top of a Jupyter server, and so even when you're launching the standalone app, you are launching a Jupyter server instance that's going to serve that app on at a specific local URL. And that's really neat because with Jupyter Server right off the back, we get built-in routing, that's a secure token and cookie auth as well. And uh, in that Jupyter server, we register Python extension is Mamba Gator, and that's where all the rest of the where all the REST API routes live. So we have endpoints for channels, environments, packages, and tasks. This is a JSON-based API. It's very lightweight, and the front end uh, can request like lists a list of environments, a list of packages, and really all the commands that Gator has. Under the hood, the server extension delegates that work to the Python backend, which is the environment manager that actually runs Conda or Mamba commands to do things uh, like creating an environment or installing or removing packages as well. And so that one Conda engine is doing all the heavy lifting. Um, and two things I would highlight for Gator would be the task endpoint here. So Gator creates a task and returns an ID, and then the front end is polling to that endpoint to get updates on the status of that task, whether it's running, maybe it's failed or it has completed successfully, and that does allow us to give feedback to the user um, that the operations that they're running, about the status of the operations that they're running. Um, the other thing would be the caching. So the first time you run your command to browse for packages, you might notice it takes a moment to load all the metadata, but once that data is loaded, it is cached, and subsequent loads are um, a lot faster. And so scrolling through packages can feel a lot better than if that was not the case. Yeah. Um, so this architecture is pretty modular, which has been really helpful when we've been updating some portions of the UI for better integration with Anaconda Toolbox. So that has been a really neat part of working with Gator. Um, I also wanted to mention when we first looked back at Gator, we had to migrate the extension from the current from its state at the time to be functional with JupyterLab 4. And so that involves some updates to the front end, but a lot of like uh, updates to the build and packaging system. So um, that work happened earlier this year, and then there's been further updates to the UI. Not quite complete. We can talk about that in what's next, but here in this video, you can see that the UI looks a little bit different now from the UI that we observed earlier. But I think we can go on to this next portion here. Um, So I did mention a little bit about what's next. We would like to improve the backend performance and also add more detailed environment metadata, as well as improve like test feedback so the users are getting a clear indicator of the progress of certain operations that might be more important to highlight. So yeah, beyond that, we're looking at a deeper integration with Toolbox features. So there's quick start environments, which we saw just earlier, and those let you get into a notebook with an environment that has packages that are useful in your particular use case. And there's also the Anaconda Assistant, which provides an AI assistant right in next to your notebook. You can prompt the AI for code snippets and work with the AI there, and looking at ways in which we can further integrate with an Anaconda Assistant and Quickstar environments. That is an area that we would like to explore, because together we want these tools to create that smooth workflow that allows users to create code, get help, and also share as quickly as possible and from the same browser that they're already working in. Um, um, to wrap up, Gator is completely open source and it is bundled with the Anaconda Toolbox, so you can quickly try it if you have been using Anaconda Toolbox. If you'd like to explore the repository and share feedback or contribute, I have added a link here. Please feel welcome to share any feedback or start contributing if you're interested. Um, I have a link here for getting started on the Anaconda Toolbox in case that is how you'd like to start up and get started working with Gator just to try it out. Also, if you have any questions and you'd like to reach out to me, please feel free to do so. I've shared my LinkedIn link here. Again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you give Gator a try next time you're trying to set up an environment.
Thank you very much to our sponsors. I hope that you really like the talk by Anaconda, and I'm certain that most of the people that work in there that are in the conference will be happy to answer to all your questions you have in the Discord channel. See you around.